Hi guys, and welcome to a new video on Sonal's life. So last week, or like a few days ago, I posted my video about Rev Pro. We are back onto New Japan and it is the G1. It's been a bit of an odd one, not just like in a bad way, but this year has been weird getting used to it because for the first time since I think it's like 2000, we've had 4 blocks with 7 wrestlers. So the schedule has been a bit more spaced out compared to normal G1s. However, it has still been a phenomenal show. And I think we are literally around the halfway mark, give or take a few days. And I thought, let's have a look at the tournament so far because a lot has happened. There have been some amazing matches, some great warm-up bouts, and some really nice storylines happening. So I thought we'll have a quick look at everything that's going on, the current standings, my favourite matches so far, just so when we get to the end of the tournament, I'm not regurgitating literally everything. And also the standings and what matches are left to come. So let's get going. So I thought I'd maybe look at each block so far and see what we've got. Because obviously they are completely different. I told you in the last video that B block was like my baby block. And I'm still not changed that. But there have been some phenomenal matches. So I guess the most logical thing to start with is Block A, or known as the Monster Block, for probably having some of the biggest guys in the tournament. So Fale, Archer, Cobb, Okada, Jonah, Yano, and then I think they had like the one exception. Yeah, 4, 6, 7. Yeah, the one exception was Tom Lawler, who is like very tiny compared to them. But the block has lived up to a lot of its potential. I think there have been a few iffy matches, I think. So for example, a lot of people, myself included, didn't really like Tom Lawler versus Lance Archer. I think we thought the size difference would make quite a nice storyline. It didn't really work as well as I think everyone hoped. But apart from that, there have been some amazing matches. So Okada versus Jeff Cobb opened. So they were the first big main event for Block A. Probably not their best bout, but amazing. These two are so different but so similar. They are both very different sizes and personalities, but they are both guys who can use their strength and speed. Again, slightly annoying that it was another win for Okada, and I feel like this is literally just putting Jeff Cobb on like a slowly downwards hill pattern that he will never be able to beat Okada in a big match situation. But I think, I don't want to say it like it's a bad thing. So Okada has been amazing. He has had some phenomenal matches. But so far, the one that stood out to me the most has been Toru Yano. Lance Archer and Jeff Cobb again, and another two had an amazing match. These two, especially in the warm-up matches, have been amazing. But why, you're going to be like, why is Toru Yano? So we've had some shenanigans. His first match against Jonah, there was shenanigans. He actually lost. Bad Luck Fale finally learnt to, when it comes to Yano, to keep your head, eyes on a swivel. But it was his match against Okada that really surprised me. We almost saw a throwback to Great Bash heel Yano. He came out straight from the go, very aggressive, and almost had this anger towards Okada. Bear in mind, we know they're chaos mates, very good friends, and have always been on an amazing level with each other. They tagged together in World Tag League several times, as odd as that combination sounds. But something switched in Yano, and he was no longer that lovable rogue. He was just like a rogue. He was using chairs, he was trying to cheat, and even Okada seemed quite shocked about it, and it in turn brought something more out of Okada. I always said this, when it comes to a lot of the New Japan factions, maybe bar Bullet Club, they are at their best when they are fighting each other, and this was no exception. Okada had this, he was very confused to start, because he was like, why is this Yano very aggressive coming out? But it worked. We saw some proper wrestling off Yano. In turn, Okada had to really adapt his style, because he's used to teaming with someone like Yano, not having to cope with his shenanigans. So it was a really nice one. I think that's, oddly enough, that's been my favourite of Block A. And I think they really lived up to the monster block reputation. But also the fact that they are so full of agility, especially with Cobb and Archer. I'm not going to say unfortunately, for some reason, and this is because it's only been a few weeks, I told everyone before, I've not watched New Japan Strong. I just physically do not have the time for it. I have not yet found a connection with the likes of Jonah and Tom Lawler, and their matches haven't really given me anything to hold on to. But there is still time, and the A block has been great. Oddly enough, not the standout, and probably, in my opinion, one of the weakest blocks, but still amazing. We are now on to Block B, as I call it the best block. I've just named that now. But you know that going into it already had some of my favourite wrestlers. So Jay, Ishii, Tai Chi and Sonata. And for me, and I don't know if it's because I'm biased, these have had some of the best matches. And like, I've got a list. I like to write stuff down. Most of these matches that I have got on my favourite list come from this block. So unsurprisingly, Ishii versus Jay. Those two literally, and I want to say, I can't remember what day it actually was. I think it was the first match. So Ishii versus Jay was phenomenal. Like, Jay, as much as he's a Bullet Club guy, compared to House of Torture, Jay has not been cheating as much. He's not been utilising Gato. And again, with Ishii, they have so much history. They were both in Chaos together. They were teaming, and then suddenly Jay turned on Chaos. But in particular, he seemed to have a very in-depth rivalry with Ishii. Someone who is the complete opposite of Jay, like in every way. Similarly, like Ishii brings out another side of Jay, like Ishii brings out with Tai Chi and that. An amazing match. I think I had my fingers crossed, as much as I loved it, that Ishii was going to pin the champion. That didn't happen. But what I loved was that Ishii, he's a babyface. We all know that. We all love him. But when it comes to his matches, he doesn't care. He will get dirty. He doesn't care if people cheer for him. He wants to do well. And in turn, that sort of riles Jay up. Because Jay likes the showboating, whereas that is the complete opposite. On the opposite spectrum, another match that I loved was Tai Chi versus Sonata, which I think might actually be my favourite at the moment. Tai Chi and Sonata, similar to Sonata and Zack, have had a very nice rivalry going up to this. A lot of like banter back and forth in the post-match comments, in the pre-show matches, so the opening card matches, tag ones, they have been doing like dripping, with their pecs. And that went into their main match. So they started with like a competition to see who could do it the most. But then it, like, as nice as that is sometimes to have that bit of personality come out, it was a serious match. There was a lot of diverse styles. So Sonata is very speedy in his submissions, whereas Tai Chi, he's like the sumo wrestler, isn't he? Very strength-based, but also does work with the strikes, like his Kawata kicks. And I quite like that light and shade and contrasting. I was very, very, like, conflicted. Like, I didn't care who won it, so obviously the result was meaningless. But what I loved was after, we know Tai Chi is doing this whole YouTube shtick, right? Yeah, the YouTube shtick. Well, he was like, oh, I like you, Sonata. If you want to team with me, we should. I'm now going to go on my YouTube channel. Similarly, Sonata seemed to have this mutual respect for Tai Chi. And it was a very nice match. Like, I think their rivalry, I think Sonata works very well with the Suzuki-gun members. I've always noticed this, especially with Dangerous Tekkers. So the two of them, I'm really happy to see where this feud goes. And I could say it's like, I guess every match in Block B has been good, but I'm just going to touch on two more because I feel like I could literally go on forever. So, side note, Okada versus Sonata was really good as well. Just, there's a note. The next two matches from Block B, these are ones that I didn't expect to be as good as they were, but they were for different reasons. So the first one was the most recent, and that was Jay versus Chase. I always love an interfaction match, and going into this, they were very clear. They were like, Chase is going to lie down on the floor. It's going to be an easy win for Jay as the champion. We know that wasn't going to happen. Basically, they went in. Chase was like, give me my money. I want my money, and then I'll lie down. So Jay gave him an envelope, told him to go and just put it away. When Chase opened it, it wasn't real. Then they obviously started fighting with each other. Like, Bullet Club, it's a faction built on deception. Why would that ever make you want to trust somebody? So obviously Chase got rightly quite angry and didn't just let the easy pin happen. And what was quite funny was the dynamic. So Chase was willing to hurt Jay, but every time Jay got angry, and he's been getting angry quite a lot, he was very unwilling to hurt Chase. Very delicate, which is quite a weird thing for a Bullet Club leader. So we'll have to keep an eye on that. At the moment, they seem to be okay. I think Jay gave Chase the money. Bullet Club is A-okay, but we all know how that happens. And then the last match in Block B I want to talk about is Tama Tonga versus Ishii. This is the first singles match they've had since Tama has become the good guy. Not legitimately, but you know what I mean, joining Hontai. And it was a phenomenal match. Like I said, Ishii doesn't care if you're a heel or babyface. So it doesn't matter that basically Tama Tonga is now teaming with members of Chaos and Hontai. He's still an opponent. And it was so nice to see Tama be able to get the crowd support, like in a good way. He knew that Ishii was going to be a tough person to beat, but he put his entire heart and soul. He was at a major disadvantage with the weight difference and the size difference, but he used his speed. Even at the end when he unfortunately lost to Ishii, you could see Tama's heart in it and how much he has grown as a wrestler, and that away from the Bullet Club shadow, he can now cement who he is as a singles wrestler and as Tama Tonga, not Bullet Club's Tama Tonga. If Block B is my favourite block in terms of like biased wrestlers, I think Block C is my second favourite because it has got some huge names. So Goto, Tanahashi, Naito, Kenta, Zack Sabre Jr., Hanare, and then Evil. But we don't talk about Evil in this house, you know we don't. Again, they have had some phenomenal matches. The biggest shock, I think, was one of the first matches, and it was Hiroki Goto beating Naito. Like, how is that even a thing? Like, in what world, after everything that's going on, is Goto beating Naito? But it was a phenomenal match. Again, another two who've had such a long history of rivalry. And their chemistry, considering their very opposite styles and personalities, just worked. It was clean, it just felt like you were watching. There wasn't much of a storyline because obviously Chaos and LIJ aren't really rivaling at the moment. But that's the thing about New Japan. They don't need a good storyline to make a good match or to get you hooked. And it was a great match. I was so happy when Hiroki Goto won because as much as I think I have Naito for this block, I have always been a massive Goto fan. And hey, if everything goes wrong and Goto decides to win, like, we'll go for that. I think Naito has put on some amazing matches. It wasn't until like the last show where he beat Evil, that he actually got a win because he's been losing, and basically he lost against Tanner as well. And another amazing match. Like, Tanner and Naito are complete opposites. Like, even more so than any other person I've talked about. But their chemistry in the ring is unlike any other. So those two matches really showed how much Naito can create a storyline out of nothing just by his personality and his persona and his desire to main event next year's Wrestle Kingdom no matter what, compared to Goto and Tanahashi's more not safe style but desire to compete for longer, while Naito wants to compete harder he doesn't care how long, he just wants to have no regrets. Similarly, Kenta versus Zack Sabre Jr., something we have seen so many times, but never fails to shock me. It was very similar to other bouts where it was a mix of submission and strikes. But what was quite funny is I think going into this, Kenta was very confident. Not just because he's been promoting his new book, which I really want. But they got to one point where it seemed like Zack was out. And rather than pin him clean, Kenta lifted his head up. And he paid for it because that small second, when it comes to Zack, he is the best defensive wrestler. He can find a win out of anything by going against his opponent, and that's what he did in this one. For me, I think it was their best bout because Zack, so even in the post-match comments, Zack was like, he had this mutual respect thing, George Michael helped and stuff. But I think they've got to the point where they wrestle so much that now it's less about like Suzuki-gun versus Bullet Club. It is less against New Japan's Kenta and Zack Sabre Jr. It is more against the wrestler Zack Sabre Jr. versus the wrestler Kenta, with all of their history dating back to Noah. And history-wise, another great match. And Aaron Hanare got his first win in his first ever G1 against Hiroshi Tanahashi. Why is that such a big thing? New Japan fans will know. Hanare has, before he joined United Empire, has always looked up to Tanahashi. They had the World Tag League team named Hanares. And I think Tanahashi was probably most shocked out everyone to see Hanare turn to the dark side. But this win for Hanare was probably the best thing ever because Even if he loses the rest, he has beaten the person that he probably wanted to beat the most. His own mentor, but also the person that he has seen as holding him back over the past few years. Hanari has shown how much he's come on since he graduated from the Young Lion system, but also that as much as I hate to say it, Hanari as a heel is very, very good, and I can see that he's going to be a future champion sooner rather than later. Finally, we are on Block D. I'm going to be honest, going into the tournament, Block D for me seemed like the weakest. I don't know why, because it does have some amazing wrestlers, but there have been some phenomenal matches in this one. I am not going to run through too many of them because I think, like I said, it might end up like Block B where I'm just like fangirling over everything. Some of the big matches story-wise, so David Finley beat his former best friend Juice Robinson in a phenomenal match, can I just say, because Finley has always been pushed to the back. I know even a lot of people have said that he's not really got a personality. Everything was based on his tag team partnership with Finjuice. His match against Juice Robinson, I don't know why I can't remember this. Everyone said it's what they wanted to see from Yo versus Show. These two former friends, there was none of the cheat and none of the stupidness that we saw in Show versus Yo. Even Sonata versus Evil when they were doing this, it was like a pure hate. It wasn't just like Juice using his Bullet Club shenanigans. Finley realised he wasn't going to win being the nice Celtic warrior, not a Celtic warrior. I don't know why I said that, but you know what I mean, because obviously his Irish roots. He played Juice at his own game, and in the end he actually won by using the cane from his dad. And I think that's a huge move forward in the development of their story, because it always seems like whenever somebody moves to Bullet Club, their former best friend is always like getting beaten up like freaking crazy until like one match later on. This was their first match after the breakup, and Finley won. And I really hope that this is like a momentum builder for Finley, because he's an amazing wrestler and I've always appreciated his wrestling style and the fact that he's a 4th generation wrestler. Likewise, Finley beat Shingo Takagi in a recent match. Another amazing bout. I didn't expect it, because bear in mind Shingo is a former world heavyweight champion, and I really think that means that they are pushing Finley. After years of being with tag teams or sort of being hyped on his name, I think Finley is really starting to show himself, and his match against Shingo was phenomenal. There were so many times where I didn't know who was going to win. So Finley managed to kick out of a Made in Japan. He was managing to find his way to the ropes and stuff. Similarly, Shingo was finding a way to counter Finley's stunner move. And I think it shows that they are two guys who've had very different journeys in New Japan. So Finley started at the dojo, good guy, so he had the tag champions, so the Never 6-man, and then he had the normal tag champions, but now he seems to be pushed as a singles wrestler. Whereas Shingo had a very prestigious and very solid career before, came to New Japan for a junior and very quickly cemented his dominance. A great match, definitely worth a watch. And one last one, which also involves Shingo, so I feel like there are some wrestlers who have properly snubbed out this tournament. Shingo is one of them. Shingo Takagi versus Yoshihashi. I will keep saying this, I bloody love Yoshihashi. He managed to beat bloody Juice Robinson. I was like, yeah, celebration. But his match against Shingo was very good, because on the surface you think, Shingo wins, it's easy. Yoshihashi put up a really strong fight, and he is, I need to double check, did he win? Because, I feel, D block. Right, so Yoshihashi didn't win, but he made me think he could, and that is the biggest thing in a wrestler, especially a babyface. He didn't care that going in he was a massive underdog and that everyone expected him to lose. He went in thinking, yes, I'm going to win. And he didn't, but he captured my heart. And the fact that I'm ending on that shows that, there are so many amazing matches that we've had so far from people you wouldn't expect. And I literally cannot wait for the next few weeks, because God only knows how many more amazing matches we've got to come. That was my mid-tournament G1 review. we've got 2 weeks left, I think, 2 or 3 weeks, and the actual final, I am not going to be watching live because my cousin is getting married, and I am unsure, 1, when I'll have a chance to watch it, and 2, when I will have a chance to review it properly. It might be a few days, so bear with me. And that is why I really wanted to post this video, just to show that I am still keeping up with the G1. As always, I want you to let me know about what your opinions of the tournament are. Who has stood out for you the most? Which matches have stood out? And which blocks? I have still not changed my picks on who I want to win. It's going to be Jay. I still think Naito can come back and do it. And like, even though he's had 2 losses. And matches to come, there are so many. So I'm looking forward to Jay versus Tai Chi. Zack versus Naito is always a good one. Ospreay versus Juice, because it's going to be the topic of the US Championship. There is so much to come, and hopefully you guys are watching it as much as I am, loving it as much, because it really does feel like we're going back to the pre-pandemic New Japan, where they are putting on some amazing matches with guys from all over the world. So, you can tell me all this in the comments below, on my social media at wrestling_chat, and while you're there, remember to like, share, and hit that subscribe button, and I will see you guys soon. Bye!